episode of the set. Thank y'all for tuning in tonight. Y'all know what we do. Just a chill place with chill vibes, good people having good conversation. So tonight, or today, whenever you watching this, I got a very special guest with me. My dad. I'm Lil Felix. This the big Felix. And tonight we just gonna talk about daddy-daughter relationships and dynamics. But first, shout out to No Shade Lemonade. Our drink sponsor tonight flavor is black cherry lemonade. So he went ahead. But
George's finest.
black cherry, No Shade Lemonade. Y'all know where to find them. I'm gonna put their information down at the bottom of the screen. Make sure y'all support black-owned businesses. Black cherry, No Shade Lemonade line. I call this Thug Passion. Thug Passion. This is Thug Passion. You add a little some extra to it. That's Thug Passion. That's gonna bless you. So we start out every one of our episodes with a mental health check-in, and basically we just go mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually on a scale from 1 to 10. Just say how you doing, where you at?
Mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually.
Yeah, from 1 to 10.
Well, my mental and emotional, I guess I'm about a 9. Spiritually, I'm about 9.5, 10. And physical, boy, I guess I'm personal assessment about a 5. Yeah. So yeah, that's one of my pet peeves in 24 is to get more physically stable, better. But it's a work in progress. I'm not having anxiety about it or nothing like that. It's just, after you get 52 years old, you got to start doing some different things. So, hey, it is what it is. Thank God I'm still here.
Alright, so me, let's see, mentally, emotionally, I'm probably at a good 8 right now. Cause I always like to leave room for improvement. Spiritually, I'd say about a 7, 8. Physically, I'm feeling about a 7, 7.5. Doing pretty good right now. So let's get into the topic for tonight. So we had a brief conversation before we came on, y'all, about this song that I had sent to my dad by Kanye. It's called Violent Crimes. And aside from Kanye as a person, it's not about Kanye. This is about the messaging in the song. Strictly the messaging.
I am not a Kanye fan.
As a father.
Yeah.
I wanted to know if he could relate to some of the lyrics of the song. Basically, in this song, he's talking about how men change when they have daughters. So, like, when he opened up, he was like, men, they savage and monsters, pimps and players until they have daughters. Then he's like, okay, now they precautious because it's like it changed his perspective as a man. And he was saying, like, basically, God forgive me, I'm scared of the karma that's going to come with this because now I don't see women like I used to. I see them as something I need to nurture and take care of and not just a conquest. So, did your perspective change on women once you found out that once you had a daughter?
Right. Well, that's what I wanted to preface what I was, I guess, thinking about hearing the song. My perspective on women changed before I knew Kanye, before I heard Kanye. My perspective on women changed when you came. Because yeah, I can't really honestly think of a man that's a real man and a father figure in the role of dad uh, in their child's life, especially girls, that it doesn't impact you and it doesn't have some type of influence on the way you see life and truthfully even the way you see women as a man. It changes once you see a product uh, in manifestation uh, that you are responsible for of the female persuasion. And yes, I'll say it did change me. I definitely would say have some things in my life from my past that I'm not proud of. Um, that had I, you know, uh, done it differently, probably I would have tried to do it differently. Uh, um, Specifically, even being our role, you being, my child out of wedlock, me and your mother, came together and you were a product of our relationship before I got, before I was married, but I was still a young man. She was a young person as well. And things happen, and I feel like, everything is a learning experience. Everything is a growing experience. But because of the way I was raised, because I had a child, it immediately put me into, adulthood mode. I was only, 20 something years old, but immediately because I had a child, my dad had that father son talk with me and let me know, hey, you do understand this child is your responsibility. And that was just, even though he was a pastor, and he was a very strict. He did not, I would say, thankfully, just come down on me super hard about it. I really appreciate the fact that he took that time to nurture me as a man, because as a man, he had a child before marriage. And so he took that opportunity to make it a teachable experience for me. And so it wasn't that he was, being really judgmental about it. It was just that he was letting me know, okay, you gotta grow up, son. You gotta be a man. You gotta take on responsibility. You gotta make sure doing what you're supposed to do financially, and you need to do what you need to do to be there, for your child. And so all of that really gave me a realistic perspective on what I needed to do as a man. And then it was a process of helping me to see and understand what it is that I wanted for my daughter. I would not, and I think you can attest to the fact, I wouldn't want my daughter to be involved in any kind of, illicit relationship that would cause her not to fulfill her full purpose in life. I would want my daughter to be able to fulfill whatever her purpose or destiny is in life without having to be encumbered by pregnancy or, any type of abusive relationship, any type of a man that would treat her less than I would treat her. I wouldn't want my daughter to have to be, burdened by anything like that, because I look at all my children as blessings, and that you have an opportunity to flourish, grow, and develop into whatever it is that you want to be in life. And by the grace of God, and what we've trained you and taught you, God will bless you to accomplish whatever your goals are.
Okay. So, like, what was your initial response? 'Cause like you say, you was pretty young. Like, I think we only like 19 years apart. So I couldn't imagine being nobody's parent. Oh my God, I couldn't imagine being nobody's parent at 30. But like, as a young man, like, what was your initial response? You find out, oh, I got a baby. You out minding your own self business, living life.
I mean, yeah, needless to say, it was the wow experience. I mean, reaction, should I say, because it definitely was not something that I was prepared for.
Yeah.
Your mom did a good job of keeping it under wraps. She, did not, say a word of that to me the whole 9 months. I started getting stuff sideways because I had left and went off to the military. I was in boot camp and training, and it was in one of my trips back home from the military that I found out that I had a child. And I was like, what? Of course, it was the proverbial aha moment for me. And I was just like, no, man, I just told it, I think blow would be a mild way of putting it, because no, I just was not ready. I was not ready. I did not want to settle down. I felt like I had, so much living to do, and I was just again getting out of, initial phase boot camp and all like that. So I was, supposedly I was just getting ready to start living, start trying to do some things, and that was a reality check. So yeah, it made me pump my brakes and realize that, okay, ain't no more just playing around. You got real responsibility to take care of, and so yeah, that's what I'm saying. When I had to talk with my dad, and he had the man talk with me about, okay, you gonna have to do this, X, Y, Z, because you got a responsibility. I am not gonna do this for you. Your mother not gonna do it for you. You did, what it took to make the child, so you're gonna have to do what it takes to see about the child. This is your responsibility. And so that was the type of talk that I got from my dad, and I can appreciate him for that, because I feel like I needed that to help me kind of get myself together and slow down, because even though I was a preacher's kid, I was 100 miles an hour in the opposite direction. So I was not doing or going in the way that I had been taught to, trained, brung up to go. I was, wanting to, I feel like, get out there and try it out and live my life, because I had been, I feel, so restrained and restricted as a child. I was trying to get out there and do what I wanted to do. But, having a child helped me realize that, okay, it's more than just you now. You gotta, and not only more than just me, but a female child, is one that I gotta make sure that I'm, there to really make sure I take care of and protect. You know, not saying that you don't take care of and protect all of your children, but your little girls, especially, I feel like with dads, your girls definitely have that special place as far as dad's concerned.
What ways did it change you, like your perspective on women, on life, on just everything? Because versus after you got married and after you got older and started having other kids, like you had me, you like you said, you still was very, very young.
Very
so
young, right.
It's like what, and I guess over the years, how have you changed?
Well, and that's what I'm about to say.
Yeah.
To that point, to see you and your sister grow up and be women, you know, that whole process has changed me. I feel like more than anything, because I had to learn how to let go. You helped me with that, because needless to say, me and you had our forays. We had our run-ins about guys that I just did not see as being, you know, good enough for my girl, my oldest daughter. I didn't make no quarrels about it. You know, I was adamant about what my conviction was, and I think, you know, you and your sister understood that yeah, I had a certain level or expectation for guys that I wanted to talk to my daughters. You know, I didn't want, you know, the guys around sagging and all like that trying to come up to my house and talk to my daughters. I ain't want these guys, you know, that was, you know, trying to perpetrate, like, you know, they you know, thugs and you know, this, that, and the other, and then, you know, specifically not trying to come at my daughter from a sexual perspective, you know, in any kind of way. I definitely wasn't hearing that, you know, and so as I got older and you all got older, I recognized that I had to relax some of those expectations and some of those restraints. I had to let you all go, because you being the first went off to FAMU, you know, Tallahassee, Florida, you know, almost 2 hours away from home. And I realized that, you know, my little girl is out there in the real world, and I can't control and protect her from everybody and everything that's in the world. It's some stuff that, I'll be honest with you, caused me to get a close relationship with God, because I had to just pray about it. You had a more reserved personality. Now your sister, Kiki, she was another story. You know, she was my daughter that, you know, was gonna get out there and she was gonna try it. She wanted to do it, and I had to respect that on her side as well. You know, but again, you helped me prepare for when I took Alexis to Georgia Southern, which was 4 hours away. At least it was some stuff that I had to deal with you. You know, I could jump in the car and, you know, I was to Tallahassee in a couple of hours or less than that, really. And it you know, wasn't so bad. I could kind of deal with that. But with Alexis, you know, I couldn't make a 4-hour trip. It was just stuff that I had to, hey, like I say, I had to pray about it and leave it in God's hand. And you know, that was something that, you know, I learned real quick how to, you know, live and let live. I had to release you all. I had to let go and let God. I mean, literally. And so that did help me as a man develop and mature in understanding that, hey, I have to, you know, rely on what I know I've trained you all, I've taught you all, and ultimately, you know, even looking at myself, it was certain stuff that I know I was taught, I was trained, but I decided to go in the opposite direction. But, you know, the Bible says if you train up a child the way they should go, when they're old, they won't depart from it. So ultimately, even though I had, you know, some time that I did go astray, or I did do some things that I was taught not to, eventually, you know, I found my way back to the path of righteousness, so to speak. So I thank God that, you know, when I look at you, when I look at Kiki, you know, I thank God even, you know, my two sons, they're still, you know, finishing up there in Atlanta and Kennesaw. But, you know, they've been blessed. I've been blessed because they've been in situations in situational stuff that I couldn't be there. But, you know, nevertheless, God kept them. He protected them. And, you know, they doing well. So I consider myself blessed. I consider you all to be doing as well as you have. I have 2 of my 4 that have completed college. And, you know, as a black man, I couldn't be proud. You know, my 2 young sons, Josh should be finishing up this year, and I think Brandon should be coming out the first of next year. So, you know, I count myself as blessed.
Yeah. So, like, I know when I was young, it was like, it probably because you still was young-ish and, like, not far removed from just being, like, outside. When I say outside, like, just in the world outside. So, like, I remember you, when I was young, like, would take time, like, look out for this, look out for that, these men ain't really talking about these guys. Whatever, just, like, those real life conversations. Like, it went, I guess some people, they wait till their kids get, like, a lot older. But with me, it was like elementary school, middle school, like, nah, we ain't going for nothing strange. This is what it is. This is what it ain't. This is what it's gonna be. And I think, like, I was talking to on the episode with me and Michi about how the men in my life, because you and then you always kept. I was always thinking, like, surrounded by so many just guys, like my uncles and my cousins and stuff. And even more so than the women, like, y'all just really took up a lot of time just talking to me, particularly, like, you as my dad, talking to me and spending time with me, even, like, before I moved down here and after I initially moved here, just one-on-one, like, going out and just doing stuff. Like, what, to you, what was the importance of doing that?
Well, the importance of doing that to me was the fact that I was in experimental phase with you. I didn't know, man. I didn't know. And I was so apprehensive, and, you know, I you know, don't necessarily say I was scared, but it just was, you know, the unknown, you know, and so, yeah, I remember so many times, you know, I didn't have a son yet, so you was like my son, literally. And I wasn't holding back. I was coming at you with the real, because I was scared. I didn't want you to get pregnant at, you know, 13, 14 years old, because, yeah, you know, you talk about, you know, the Kanye song, Special Victims of Violent Crimes. I know I murdered that.
Violent crimes.
Okay. You won't get a plug from me. Violent Crimes, I'm sorry. But it was the fact that I did realize that, man, karma is a beast, so to speak. And I had put some bad seeds in the ground. I did. I will, own that. Because I did some things to some fathers' daughters that I wouldn't want done to mine. And so that's the real. I was trying to at any cost prevent you from being a victim. I just didn't want it to happen, man, because I saw it as being a high probability that, because of what I had done, that one of my daughters could have been a victim of some man's son, having their way with my daughter. And I didn't want to have to relive that. I just didn't want to have to deal with that whole scenario and thinking about because I'm unapologetic at this point that I was a jock. I was an athlete through high school, so I lived that life of having literally like my pick, a choice of females that I want to, be involved with and mess around with. And that was the going thing. It wasn't the right thing, but I did my fair share of it. And so I just didn't want to see anything, negative come on my child, either one of my daughters. And I was trying to, as they say, put you up on game, and you just bought it out. I spent time with you, from coaching your basketball team at the Y to me and you going out to the movies together, just me and you. And I would be talking to you the whole time. It was times, before then, before you came to state, that, I would be picking you up from your mother's house. And on the ride, I would be talking to you, and you was real little then, but I just would be in my mind, because you, at that time, I didn't have you staying with me, so I won't know, did anybody touch you? Did anybody put their hands on? All of that was just stuff, I was constantly quizzing you. I was constantly wanting to know, did this person do this? Did that person? But that was just as a dad, I was just so keen on making sure that, everything that I could control, I wanted to control. I just didn't want to have no slip-ups, especially like I said before you came to stay with me, I just was trying to make sure I did everything in my power to protect you and all like that. But I just, was trying to, and you got it way more than your sister, than Kiki did, because by the time Kiki came along, I had to kind of work all that stuff out of me. And what helped me a lot was the fact that, you had kind of gone through some of the adolescent stuff, and so I was kind of feeling like, okay, she gonna be all right. You hadn't had a child by the time you was 15 years old, so I was feeling pretty darn good. So that's just a personal thing with me and the Lord, you know what I'm saying? And so, but you were my personal challenge, because even though my wife, your stepmom, she was there and she did an outstanding job in playing her role, but because of the way my dad put it in me, this is your responsibility. This is your child. And that was what I always just held, that I got to make sure I got you ready. I got to make sure that everything that I can teach you and tell you about the wiles of the world and you know, cause a major part of that, like you just mentioned, I still wasn't, you know, just per se living a Christian life. I was still, you know, kind of, even though I hadn't got married and stuff like that, I still was, you know, I was doing my thing, so to speak. So I was still trying to make sure that I was protecting you. I remember one incident where I went ham because we was living in the hood, and the little boy that I had raking my yards came to my front door and asked me where you was at. I said, I know this Negro did not come. And I asked, I say, Shaw, what you say? I seen that girl back there on that swing back there. Where she at? I said, boy, don't you ever come back to my house no more.
I know y'all locked in, y'all tuning in. I hope y'all enjoying this episode, me and my dad. But we're going to cut it right here and pick up with it next week. I need y'all to tune in next Thursday at 7 p.m. for the continuation and completion of this episode. In the meantime, y'all go ahead and like, share, comment, subscribe. Tell a friend about this set. I appreciate y'all kicking in with me. See y'all next week.